back. And
We are back.
I have a slightly different camera angle today. It is episode 188 of the Metal Roundtable. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, is the great. I got it right the first time.
Carcass John and
the newly, freshly shorn.
I didn't give myself a nickname today, so it's just Scott.
Look at that.
Yeah, I hope it's not like a Samson. Hope it's not like a Samson thing. You know, he shaves his beard, and all of a sudden he's like struggling to talk about metal or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That
might happen. We'll see.
We need all the help we can get.
I doubt Scott will struggle talking about metal.
Right. Correct.
Synforce.
Oh yeah, good band.
Well, let's get a few things out of the way. Not out of the way. That is to diminish them. I don't mean to do that. If you sent me a message about a sticker, your sticker is in the mail. If you live in the United States and you would like a Metal Roundtable sticker, email me your address. I am metalrob@gmail.com, and I will make magic happen for you. Also, our sponsor, I'm not going to play the video today, but I want to talk about our sponsor, mediatech.edu, with locations in Dallas and Houston. If you want to get into all things audio and video engineering, that is the place to go. I highly recommend you do so. And there is an open house on August the 12th. So please go to mediatech.edu and look those boys up and see what they've got going on. And maybe they can help you further your career in AV media or audio things. It'll be great. Go see them.
Amen, brother.
That's a ticket reference. Sorry.
Yes, it is.
Tony Clem is here. Damien Hair Metal is here. Frazier is here. What is the hell that shirt? I don't know. We had it a couple of weeks ago. Beast Hater, Beast Hammer.
Nope.
Dick Beater. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't ever wear anything like that, but
Hater.
To each their own.
Multiplicity?
Yeah.
No.
I have no idea.
Know. I can't remember. You wore it.
Plasmodulated.
That's what I
should have known that one.
Yeah.
You guys. Come on. I try to give you softballs and you're still whiffing at thin air.
Right. Mine's pretty easy. Creeper.
That's dang right. I know the artist too. Pretty good guy.
Yeah. Let's knock out the shout outs real quick. I'll tell a couple stories.
Mine's Noise Records.
And then we'll get to some more randomness. I don't really have any shout outs other than I want to shout out Gracie Joe's Barbecue. We did a nice barbecue for Tom Keifer Band and John Corabi last Thursday at the Granada Theater in Dallas. And the staff of the Granada Theater were more than accommodating to us. And the guys in both bands were super nice and their crews were great. I'll tell a little bit more about that later. But Granada Theater, great venue, and the staff was great. What about you, Carcass?
Don't really have any shout out. I will shout out my Russian neighbor. Well, actually, he's from Latvia, but the old Blue Screaming Demon was in the shop this week with a warranty transmission replacement. Be careful what you buy because you might just have to use it. So I have a unlimited drivetrain and engine warranty on my 2019 supercar, according to my insurance company. It's really not. It's just a Kia. But anyway, I was kind of stuck without a vehicle, and he just threw me the keys, said, "Here's my Camry. Drive it like it's yours." And I been driving it like it's mine. So shout out to Vladimir. Thank you very much, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar. And the guys at Kia Alliance blasted it out of the park. Car is great, runs great. They even replaced my skid plate that's been damaged more than once. But anyway, that's all I got. And you know what? I'm going to shout out the Queen Stephra, Queen of the Crypt. Man, she's awesome. She's doing great. She's back in her third week of her regular hours at work and doing fine and loving life. And we are just having a ball. So shout out to her. I will blow her a kiss, so you don't have to have one blown back at you. And man, I love that woman. She's awesome.
She's
I hope
pretty
so.
good, man.
And one of her, she has a child out of town that's coming home tonight, and she's stoked. So
Nice.
anyway,
How about you, Scooter?
I would like to shout out Monty Colvin from Galactic Cowboys. I contacted him. I got this cool CD from a friend of mine that was signed by Ben Higgins, and I've been, friends with Monty on Facebook forever. So I just text him. I'm like, hey man, what do you think about signing my CD for me if I send it to you in the mail? And he's like, send it on, man. So my CD is now signed by 2 of the 4 members of Galactic Cowboys, but he also sent one of his newer prints.
oh wow.
So I think it's the 5th Monty Colvin print I have. So if you go to montycolvinart.com, you can see all the different prints and magnets and original paintings that he sells. He's a fantastic artist. And yeah, Monty Colvin art that rocks. So sounds like a paid promotion, but I didn't get this for free. I paid for this. So but I'm still going to shout him out. Yeah, it's martycolvinart.com.
Putting it in the comments right now.
So, yep, very cool guy. And of course, I love the Galactic Cowboys. And I'm not saying that there's a box set coming this year, but there might be a box set coming this year.
You didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't.
I mean, box sets are kind of falling out of the sky right now in a good way. So.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yes, they are.
No, hey, Poloni Anzalone is here. What's up? Thanks
I will say shout out to, Fraser Dawson claims to be the king, and today I think I'll let him be the king. But he actually listened to the Crypt because he's picking out a few songs, like I did play Witch Trap.
Nice.
Madness and Poison was just one of my favorite Witch Traps. So shout out to you, Fraser. Thanks for listening.
It's awesome. And yes, you can check out Carcass's show, The Crypt, every Friday at 6:00 on Deep Dallas Radio.rocks. You can scroll to the bottom and hit listen now. And it's also on Live 365 and TuneIn and several of those. Just look up Deep Dallas Radio. Very simple. Well, you want to hear a couple stories real quick?
Let's hear them.
Okay. Don't have to be quick. Just tell them.
All right. So Thursday, Richie, my buddy from grade school, met him in first grade. He punched me in the stomach in first grade. We have since put that behind us. And now I go and assist him in serving barbecue to the occasional rock star. And he's got a killer business going over in Bells, Texas called Gracie Joe's Barbecue. And he is available. You can find him on Facebook, Gracie Joe's Smokehouse, excuse me. Just look him up on Facebook, and he does catering and events and all kinds of stuff.
Does he actually have a restaurant?
Does not. No, but he does catering. He does supply food for one of the restaurants in town. 1836, I believe, is the name of it. So anyway, one of the things that Richie decided that he wanted to do with his business, as I get distracted by stuff sticking out of my cabinet here, was he wanted to do a custom barbecue for bands that he was fans of. And he's done Armored Saint, and he's done Slaughter a few times, and he's done several bands. You've heard.
Did you do Sepultura or Cavalera Conspiracy?
Yep. Sepultura Creator. We did that tour. He did that tour. I just go and assist. But the most recent one we did was Thursday night at the Granada for Tom Keifer Band and John Corabi. So I've got 2 funny stories and kind of funny stories. So we get there about 11:30 and the band starts trickling in about half an hour later. But when Richie and I pull into the parking lot, there's this RV there, large, but it's an RV. It's not a tour bus type thing. And it's up in the corner of the parking lot under some trees. And I'm telling Richie, I'm like, dude, I'll bet that's Corabi. It's got a trailer on the back and everything. But it's a nice size, large large RV, but it looks like it's, seen a little bit better days. So I'm speculating that that's John in there, and he's just going to roll out and just, man, it's time to go on stage, and just boom, roll out of the RV and onto the stage, and off we go. Well, now let me just tell the rest of the story. So we get in the venue and we set up the food, and the band and crew are eating, especially the crew is eating early. And a lot of the band, they'll just eat a little bit, and then they'll come back and they'll, eat heavy after the show, which makes sense. So we sometimes we hold the food, sometimes we put it away and let them just reheat it later, whatever. But anyway, so we're back and forth doing that. And we're starting to get to know some of the dudes from the Corabi band, or from the Keifer band. And the ladies come in. One of the backup singers comes in, the keyboard player comes in, and the guitar player, and everybody rolls through. And we're talking, and they're just treating us like kings. Super, super nice people. Well, we really hit it off with the drummer, and we're talking to him a bunch, just talking about metal, basically doing the metal round table in the back of this venue, just chit-chatting. And it was so great. Well, he's telling us about Corabi's RV. And in our mind's eye, we're thinking of the RV out in the parking lot, and he's like, dude, you should see this thing inside. It's crazy. It's all decked out. It's got, it's got a full-size fridge in it. It's got 2 full bathrooms. And I'm like, wow, man, that rig is not that big. But I mean, maybe he's just got some crazy setup that he's done by customizing this RV. And so it just goes on, and he's telling about the RV. And yeah, man, I might ride with Corabi on some of the stops because, it's just cool to hang with him and whatever. So we get to talk about music. We have Kiss talk. We have this and that. Well, all of a sudden, Corabi rolls in, and the tour manager had told us that he wouldn't roll in till late afternoon, 4:30 or 5 o'clock. And sure enough, he rolled in. We got to see both bands sound check, which was really cool. It's nice to see them working together on what they're going to do and working stuff out with the venue. It's probably boring for them, but to me, it's interesting. So we get to see Corabi and Keifer do their whole sound check and everything. Very cool, very laid back. They gave us full access, which is very gracious. And so we're standing in the back, still haven't been outside, and we get to talking to Corabi a little bit. And he's just so chill. I just can't describe how laid back that dude is and how laid back all the people were in Keifer's band. So we step outside, and John is back there talking to some people, a couple of fans and some crew people and whatever, right by Keifer's bus. Well, there's a massive bus that looks brand new that has pulled in and parked next to Keifer's bus. That is Corabi's bus. So I start laughing, and I'm telling John, I said, dude, I got to tell you the story. And so I told him, I said, we have had this built up all afternoon that you had this customized RV, and we thought it was the one in the parking lot over there. And so we've been hearing this story about this, massively awesome RV and all this shit. So he laughs and grabs me by the shoulder and goes, come on, I'll show you. It's 10 minutes before he has to go on stage. Maybe 15. Yeah. So we go on the bus. It's just me, him, and my buddy Richie. And both of us are looking at each other like, I can't believe, this dude's got to get on stage, and he is talking, and he's telling us about the AC. He's been trying to get fixed on it, and he's been telling us about he needs to get the water tanks flushed, and he's been telling us some details about what it costs to run that thing versus hotel rooms, and just really just giving us the whole spiel. And such a nice guy, but The damn thing's got marble floors, a fireplace, custom wood cabinets. I mean, it's unreal. It does have 2 full bathrooms, and he was just the nicest dude to show it to us. Well, one of the things we get to talking about is that I'd sent Bruce Kulick, because they were in union together, that I'd sent Bruce Kulick some stuff that I'd found in collections, some Kiss related stuff that I thought he might want, and a couple Grand Funk things and whatever. So Corabi walks over to the little console, like where you put your keys and change in your car, but it's like this big in this massive bus, this little thing. And he goes, "Hey man, here, this is yours." So here's a 30-year-old Scream tape, and we're walking out of the bus. He goes, "Yeah, man, I gotta go. I gotta get on stage." And then he stopped me dead in our tracks, and he goes, "Dude, make sure it's the right tape in there." And I'm like, "Yeah, it'd be weird if it was like 404 or something like that." It is the Scream. So anyway, it doesn't matter that they gave us, the backstage laminates and all that. We weren't like Wayne's World, but we felt like that because it was so cool that they treated us so nice. But you will have to pry this out of my cold, dead hands because he handed it right to me. And I couldn't be prouder of having that because it was just cool. It was right there in the console, and he handed it over. So to wrap up, that's kind of both stories in one. But I'm standing there talking to the drummer. Scott, you're going to love this. His name is Jared Pope. So I'm standing there talking to him. He said, "Man, so what else do you do? You don't just do barbecue." And I'm like, "No, man, my buddy does the barbecue. I just hang out with him. And, I work for a school district doing technology, and then I do mastering and, blah, 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 blah," telling him the stuff I did. And I said, and I just got done doing, for vinyl, remastering the first Brother Kane album. I don't know if we can talk about that, but it's part of the story. Anyway, and he goes, "I'm the drummer of Brother Kane." And Tony, the other guy we'd been talking to a good bit of the day, he's the guitar player. So in the reformed Brother Kane, it's Damon Johnson, the original bass player sometimes, and these 2 guys. And he's like, "Dude, I can't believe that." So anyway, so we're going to stay in touch, but I thought that was pretty cool that it just came full circle all the way around like that. But they're also in Damon Johnson's solo band. So anyway, good dudes. That was my story about the Keifer band and John Corabi, and they treated us like absolute kings.
And how was the show?
Oh my God. Well, Corabi is entertaining just to talk to, but he got up there, and I'll tell you the truth, I'm not super entertained by just acoustic singer-songwriter stuff, but that dude got up there, and his voice was on fire, and he killed it on guitar. He did Man in the Moon, which I think is on this album. Yes. He did Father, Mother, Son off of this album. He did Hooligan's Holiday, the Motley Crue song. But the jokes and the stories between songs were worth the price of admission alone. And then he knocked you out with killer acoustic guitar playing, and his voice was top notch. Then Keifer's band goes on, and it was a clinic, a wrecking crew, from the backup singers to the keyboard player. The bass player was badass. The drummer was badass. Tom was in rare form, and his other guitar player is Tony Higbee that I mentioned a minute ago. And good grief, they just laid waste to that place. And to a person in Keifer's band, everybody that came out after the show was like, "Good God, the crowd was on fire." I heard on fire. I heard electric. I heard out of control. I heard badass. Everybody was just like, "Oh my gosh, this was great." And they kept talking about how Tom was into it, and you could tell he was going for it because the crowd was so electric. And that's kind of what I got from it. I have seen Tom Keifer twice before, once in Cinderella in about 2000. And I've seen this band about a year ago at the infamous show where Tracy Guns played guitar from the bathroom. I was at that show. And man, that Keifer band is not to be missed. And his album Rise, I've got it right here somewhere. They played a couple tracks off of this, and if you don't have this Tom Keifer band Rise album, you have missed out. So get it, and all those dudes play on it. So that's pretty cool.
So since this is just for general information, this isn't really my brand of metal, but once again, when it's good, it's good. And props to the Granada Theater. With several venues closing in this area, we wondered where all the shows were going to go, and that's a kind of a throwback venue. It's an old restored movie theater, and it's got great acoustics and a pretty decent sound system. I saw the Immolation Obituary Blood Incantation thing there. We saw our buddy Chris O'Toole and Unearth and Bleeding Through play there, and so shout out to the Granada Theater for actually putting out a great product. But so Corabi, you mentioned the Scream. I know he was in Motley Crue, and in Union. But what else was he in? Just for general information, because
the things that I know of are Motley Crue, Union, the Scream. He's in Dead Daisies now.
Okay.
Again. I think he was in and out, and I think he's back. Other than that, honestly, I don't know off the top of my head. But the guys just play, and apparently this is kind of what he does now when he's not out with the Daisies. He drives his big rig around and plays acoustic sets in front of bands. And no shit, that bus has John Corabi on it and his guitar tech. How awesome is that?
Glenn Rogers says Rough Cut.
Oh, he was in Rough Cut? I didn't know that.
After Paul Shortino left? That's news to me.
Well, let's look it up.
Let's look it up. Yeah, Google that stuff.
Right now.
Yeah, I just find it interesting. He obviously has chops. He's got a good voice. I like the Dead Daisies, but once again, that's really not it's not my realm. And I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not very familiar with the Dead Daisies either. I'll check some of it out. I just haven't, for whatever reason, it hasn't come across my radar.
I think Tommy Aldrich was in there, so that definitely has my attention already, because that guy's
Doug Aldrich was for sure.
Oh, Doug. Maybe it was Doug Aldrich.
Doug Aldrich.
Well, either Aldrich. That has my attention.
Sorry. Funny thing is, I get up Friday morning and I go out to start processing part of a collection. And no kidding, I sit down at my computer. I look up into my field of vision. And you know what I see sticking out the edge of a box? A CD with that.
Oh, wow.
So I had not listened to this probably since it came out, or at least not much. So I put the CD on, instant connection. I love it. I just, for some reason, never paid much attention to it.
Well, speaking of which, as we discussed prior to the show, I've sort of been in that reconnecting with old music mode too. And since I'm borrowing my car from my neighbor, it actually has a CD player in it, which is kind of fun. So it's an older car, but it's a great car. And so I have this one box out in the garage that's just full of CD holders, like the old, has two CDs top and bottom, and you flip the pages, and I just, some of them were stacks and stacks. I found spindles of unmarked CDs and so forth. So I just grabbed the first one off the top, and man, let me tell you something. I reconnected with a couple things, so I'll just throw this out here, including I found an old compilation from our buddy Angry Rob down in Lake Jackson, Texas, south of Houston. And this mix is so eclectic that I couldn't even believe what I was reading, which includes, not the least of which, Typo Negative, All That Remains, and Nickelback. And somehow it all makes sense. And this might be the heaviest Nickelback song I've ever heard. It's called "Side of the Bullet." It's a song about Dimebag's death.
That's a decent song. Yeah,
dude, that's pretty good actually. But let me tell you that the 4 albums that I connected with, and not so surprising, they're all Bay Area thrash bands, and I love Bay Area thrash. But the first one I pulled out was Exodus, Shovelhead Kill Machine, and the Rob Dukes era. Everyone can complain about it, whatever. Dude, there is no shortfall on any of his releases. I went back, and this caused me to go back to all the releases that he was on. Dude, that guy killed it. And Exodus as a band, why they don't get more mention? Why don't they don't get more mention in the realm of thrash metal, heavy metal, whatever? Dude, they're consistent and they just destroy.
No complaints here.
They kill posers dead, and I really like them. The other two are Forbidden Evil. I sort of joked with my daughter while she was here, Carcass Spawn. Her ringtone used to be the song Forbidden Evil. And I kind of, as a sneaky way of jabbing the ex, I would call her, knowing when she was with her mom, I would call her constantly to get that thing to kick off. But anyway, Forbidden Evil, I've heard that there's a new reformation of the original Forbidden band with a new singer, and this dude sounds like Russ Anderson in his top form from the 80s and early 90s. And I would highly encourage anybody, if they get a chance to see him, to see him. The other 2 releases that I just went bonkers over were the 2 Violence, the first 2 Violence, Eternal Nightmare and Oppressing the Masses. Man, those things still hold up. I could easily go to the island with those 4 releases and be happy for a long time. And so I started comparing, especially the Violence, to the new EP that they put out, and I hope that they put out another full length, because man, they are still punishing. They still have the formula down, and it must be the connection between Sean Killian and Phil Demmel, because those are the 2 consistent parts. I know they've got new drummers and rhythm guitarists and bass players, but those 2 write killer thrash metal music, and in anybody that wants to get into thrash. And I just saw one of the best thrash shows ever with Toxic Holocaust and Havoc just absolutely destroying the Echo Lounge in Dallas. But these bands, these aforementioned Exodus, Violence, and Forbidden, will absolutely lay waste to every poser in the street. So, and so it's been kind of fun to go through these unmarked CDs. Some of them have a track list or a title listed on them, but I'm going to keep going through them because it's kind of fun to revisit old music. And I mean, to your point about reconnecting with something that you heard maybe when it came out, I used to wear these things out. In fact, I've had multiple copies of all the albums that I just mentioned, and now I'm probably going to look for backups because I have a feeling I'm going to continue to wear them out.
Hey guys, I'm going to remove myself just for a second. I've got something going on downstairs. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, noises I'm not familiar with. So, what do we call it? Production value?
Production value. Scott.
I'll be back in like 1 minute. Let me go see what this is.
So,
when is it? Let's see here.
Didn't you just see? You saw the Toxic and Havoc show, didn't you?
No, I did not.
They didn't come here.
Not. No.
What? Who was just there?
Heathen and
that's Overkill Exhorder.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a great show too, though. So Fraser Dawn, okay, I got a question for you. When is the new Dark Angel coming out? Because you know those guys. Do you know who is going to put it out, and can you answer that question? No, I cannot, because I don't know the answer to that question. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know when, and I don't know who. Sorry.
Yeah, they've been talking about this for the last 5 years. And I know they've recorded, because Ron told us they were working on vocals and so forth.
Yeah, I just don't know when or where or any of that information. All I know is that they said they were working on a new album, so who knows? They seem to be playing a lot of shows. They just played this past weekend in San Francisco.
So when they played, and when you saw Dark Angel recently, did they play any new stuff, or did they just play Darkness Descends?
They played Darkness Descends and then a handful of songs from other albums. Yep.
But nothing new.
Nothing new. No, nothing new. At least not when I saw them. I don't think they're doing it because they're playing a lot of the big festivals in Europe, and so I'm sure their set list is pretty. It's got to be tight. When I saw them, they were the headliner, and like I said, they played the entire Darkness Descends album plus a handful of other songs. They didn't even mention on stage about a new album. So
that's so weird, man. That's you'd think that if you had new music coming out, that you would say something. Both Havoc and Toxic can mention that they had new music coming out, and when they shut the whole world down, Havoc had just released V, which is Roman numeral 5, which is their 5th album, and but they've already got new stuff. I know for a fact, because what else were they going to do? And Dave's got that studio in his basement, and so and Joel has his own home studio. And as much as, like I think I mentioned before, as much Charlie and Nikki had asked me how did Toxic sound. Because Charlie Belmore and Nikki Belmore were basically Joel's band, and I think they sound okay. I mean, I guess I'm partial to the Belmore brothers, but Joel's not going to put out a bad product. So I don't know. I think thrash is not dead. That's for dang sure.
Dude, I fired up some Creator on Spotify today. Oh my gosh, I don't listen to enough Creator.
Well, which one?
I just let it fall down with the top ones that it's played, and I was happy.
Yeah, they're a transitional band, but how many records do they have? They have as many as Overkill, don't they? Like 18 or 20 records in total. I know, you can Google that stuff, and I mean, even Renewal has its place. But I mean, the first time I ever saw them was Terrible Certainty, and that thing just like lopped my dome off. And it was Soothsayer, Creator. I think it was at a place called Power Tools in Houston, a real small venue. And Mila signed one of my records, Death to the World, and he signed it in German. And you talk about prying it out of your dead cold hands. You'll never get that one from me, because they didn't even speak English the first time I saw them.
I wish I had taken a picture with him when I was standing right there. I didn't take a picture, didn't ask him for any autographs or anything. Just, I do wish I had snapped a picture, because they were very nice.
Dark Angel played with Blind Illusion this past weekend. I didn't even know Blind Illusion was still together.
Was that with Les Claypool and Larry Lalonde?
I don't know. I just saw the flyer and saw that it was them on there, so couldn't tell you.
Because
it was in San Francisco, so that's all I know.
I mean, a lot of people know Larry and Les from Primus, obviously, which is quirky and eclectic, not anything like Blind Illusion. I mean, there's some elements of that, kind of that technical thrash stuff in there, but nothing. It was
Dark Angel, Blind Illusion, and Mordred.
Wow. Geez, they're still doing stuff? That's crazy.
So, yeah, at the Great American Music Hall in San Francisco.
Huh.
So don't you boys have some new stuff y'all have picked up? I think Scott's got some stuff to show, right?
Yeah, I've got a few things.
I mostly pulled some stuff that I've been listening to recently.
Let's get into it.
Right before the show, I had this thing cranked.
Battlecross, Detroit, Michigan.
These guys they really ride a fence between. I mean, musically, I would just call them thrash, but the vocals are pretty extreme, so they kind of ride that fence between thrash and old school death metal. What do you think, John?
Yeah, no, that's a pretty apt description. I remember when they first came out, I was blown away how technically good they were. And then they're being from Detroit, you would think that they would have more of a rock and roll edge or whatever. But man, they were really
No,
good. But
yeah.
that's a pretty apt description.
I got to meet them and see them. I can't remember who they were opening for now. Might have been Death Angel, but anyhow, I've seen them several times, or maybe it was 3 Inches of Blood. I don't know. I've seen these guys a couple times, so.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing them with 3 Inches of Blood too, but they weren't the headliner. They were like the direct support or something. I'm trying to think who that was. Was it Destruction?
No, I think it might have been Death. For me, I think it was almost positive it was Death Angel, but I could be wrong.
Oh, that could be true. So
Anyhow,
many gigs.
I picked this is a new one I just picked up. Ted Nugent, Central Park, 1975.
Wow. How does it sound? What's the sound quality?
It's a radio broadcast, so it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, so it must be pretty good.
I mean, I've had the Central Park 75 of Aerosmith since the 70s. I've had copies of that one. I never even knew this one existed, so it's kind of cool. The set list is kind of interesting because he opens up with Hibernation.
Wow.
And he's talking about, of course, we just signed with Epic Records, and we're going to play a new song, Stormtrooper. We're going to play another new song, just what the doctor ordered. We're going to play another new song, Stranglehold. And like,
I need to write that one down because that's right up my alley.
Central Park 75, and I got it on Amazon. It was like, I don't remember. It was under $20, so it wasn't expensive. So anyhow, what else have I been spinning? I pulled out. I haven't heard this one in a while, so I was just in an Accept mood. So I pulled out The Rise of Chaos from Accept.
Is that the third one with the guy from TT Quick?
That would be Mark Tornillo, and they've got 5 or 6 with him now. Let's see. Let's look it up. So we're not. Let's see here. All right. So we're going in. So that would be the 1, 2, 3. That was the 4th. The Rise of Chaos was the 4th with him.
Gosh, that's crazy. I can remember when like Stalingrad, and what was the other one that when he first
Blood of the
joined
Nations.
Band?
Yeah, Blood of the Nations. So there's actually 5 studio albums with him and 2 live albums with him now. So he's actually catching up quickly to how many albums Udo did with them.
Udo.
I actually had a conversation with some guy online the other day who it was a friendly conversation, but he's like, he was like, TT Quick sucks. And I'm like, okay, I like him. I grew up with him. Great band, just straightforward heavy metal. And he goes, and Mark Tornillo is ruined Accept. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like,
I think he's actually made him better. Udo's, I mean, I know it's blasphemy to say Udo is okay, but I think he's just okay.
Well, the other thing, he's like, Mark's just trying to sound like Udo, the guy said. I'm like, I don't know, man. I've been a fan of both bands since the 80s, and I think Mark Tornillo sounds like Mark Tornillo, even in Accept.
Yep.
He's not trying to sing like Udo at all to me, but whatever. He was like, well, we'll just have to agree to disagree then. I'm like, okay. I said, I don't hear it, man.
Hey, speaking of new releases, Frazier brings up a good point. Our buddy James Rivera from Hellstar, he does this really, really cool thing called Metal Wave, which he sings The Fix, Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, but in a heavy metal circumstance. Yep. And Massacre Records is releasing a full length record this Friday.
And who mastered that?
That would be me.
Who mastered that?
I was so freaking excited to get that call from James to do that record. We did that a long time ago. I say they did it. I just put the syrup on top of the pancakes. But man,
so is it Hellstar or is it just James Rivera?
No, it's I know for sure it's James.
Andrew,
I saw him live at their first show, and it was James, it was Larry, and I believe the bass player as well from Hellstar.
Oh, Gareth?
Yep.
Who's drumming for him? Is it Mikey?
I think it's your mom.
My mom.
It was
could
not,
hold the pocket.
It was not Mikey.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. I would love to hear it.
Speaking of Udo, I just reached behind me and grabbed this one out because I just recently received this one. It's actually at least a year old, 2022. Yeah, this thing I really enjoyed it. I kind of put off buying it. The copy I bought came with an autographed card as well, which is kind of surprising. But in any case, this is just Udo Dirkschneider, and it's him just playing songs that he likes. And there's a big old booklet in there explaining why each of the songs on here means something to him and why he wanted to re-record that song. But it's all over the musical spectrum as far as the songs go. You got Faith Healer from the Alex Harvey Band, Fire from the Crazy World of Arthur Brown, Sympathy from Uriah Heep. They call it a Nutbush by Tina Turner. Man on the Silver Mountain by Rainbow.
Oh, wow.
Hellraiser by The Sweet. No Class, Motorhead. Rock and Roll, Led Zeppelin. The Stroke, Billy Squier. Now that was one I thought was a bit odd, but then again, Tina Turner's a little odd too. So Paint It Black, obviously. Stones. He's a Woman, She's a Man. Scorpions. TNT, AC/DC. Jealousy by Frankie Miller. Hellbent for Leather by Judas Priest. We Will Rock You by Queen. My Way by Frank Sinatra. Sorry about that. Something's on my dog at the freaking wall today. Anyhow, I actually enjoyed the whole thing. Even the songs you wouldn't think were good. So,
well, that's like the ultimate crossover when Udo can pull off Frank Sinatra.
But it's all done in a metal style. It's very much done like Except doing it. Sorry, guys.
I'm stoked to hear that James Rivera project. I always like he's always scratching and fetching and trying to figure out new ways to kind of reinvent himself. It's kind of fun.
Well, and they've got a video out too. Hang on.
Usually they're pretty quiet during the show, but today something's making them crazy.
Yeah, I'll post the link to the Black Celebration video, and then I'll post the link to Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
What's up with these cover albums now? I don't know what you're talking about. People have been doing cover albums for a long time.
Saxon's done, what, 2 back-to-back?
2. I mean, they were really popular in the early 2000s. There was tons of cover albums coming out back then. They're kind of a little more less common now than they were. But I don't know. I like them. I think they're fun. I like when my favorite band is doing covers of other favorite bands.
Right. Or even covering their own material and just re-recording them. I know Voivod, I just saw that Voivod basically went through their whole catalog and has done a greatest hits, but it's modern recording as if they were playing it live. The ode to Bonded by Blood. Everyone wants to complain about that, but man, I think my knock on Bonded by Blood by Exodus was the production sucked, and to have somebody re-record it and with modern technology, I
thought it was great.
I thought it was great too, man. It's one of my favorites. So I don't know. I think I told you that most things are. I'm moving more stuff out than I'm moving in, but I have a friend that I've made because one of my favorite places is Recycled Books and Records up in Denton. It's a college town, and I bought a random tape by a guy named Mort White. He does something called Dungeon Synth. He's even recorded in a cemetery and what have you. And he sent me this we've become fast friends, and he sent me this very cool stack of cassettes. And everything he releases is on cassette and on a download card. But Mort White is his name. I use him for the intro and outros on the Crypt because they're kind of cool. But live shows and some weird packaging here. These little but even this thing looks like an old VHH or a VHS tape, and it has, what do you know, a VHS tape of one of his performances. So I haven't been through all of it, but that's kind of a fun, kind of a new format. And of course, you got to have a VHS player and you got to have a cassette player, and I fortunately have all the above in spades. So kind of fun. And I've been going on the cheap, so I've been buying cassettes. This is Wormed. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Super heavy, highly technical death metal. Anybody heard of Nile?
Yep.
I saw this randomly. Didn't even know it was released, but it's relatively new. It's a couple years old, and it was $2. So I grabbed it, bought it. It's punishing as ever. I mean,
sometimes I'm in denial.
You're in denial. And here's a real sleeper. Queen of the Damned soundtrack. Now, I remember when this movie came out, and it's sort of new metalish, so I might lose my metal card here, but the Queen and I watched this, and it was actually a pretty good movie. But the music, Static X, Disturbed, Linkin Park, Marilyn Manson, Papa Roach, Deftones, whatever. It's actually it's befitting of the movie. It's kind of fun. So 99 cents. I bought the soundtrack. And last but not least.
So what is Rob, are you a fan of any new metal at all?
You talk about
this. Okay, before you answer that, are you a fan of this?
It's not their best album, but I like it.
Rob? Okay, that means no, and that's okay.
It's all right.
But when you see a super clean copy that looks like it's never been played and it's like $8.
Yeah, you buy it every time.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
And so it made me listen to it again, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I do like the Tony Martin era a lot. I don't remember that one grabbing me. My favorite is Eternal Idol.
Okay.
But if I'm being completely transparent, I would kind of need to revisit that because I don't remember a ton about Forbidden.
Hey, you would like these guys.
Ice-T was on that Forbidden, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep. The Black Angels from Austin, Texas. This is like Wofat meets Mothership meets Blood of the Sun. I don't know. That's all I got. That's the extent of my purchase in the last.
I picked this thing up
4 months.
I may have shown it in another video recently, but I just recently got it, so I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a 6-disc box set of Phil Lynott post Thin Lizzy material, live stuff, studio stuff, demos. There's the first disc is all their studio tracks remixed and remastered. They sound really good. But anyhow, I was jamming on this today. Also, the remix remaster tracks are also available on vinyl, and you can also pick that up on Amazon. And this, if anybody's a Phil Lynott Thin Lizzy fanatic as I am, this wasn't real expensive for a 6-disc set. Actually, I got it during the the Amazon Days or whatever it was when they were having their little sale stuff. So I mean, I got it for like a quarter of the price it usually sells for. And then these two I've been spinning a lot recently. They're old. This is old school stuff that I had forever.
Love that record.
And then
you showed Sanity Obscure today, and man, that thing. I told you my story about seeing them at the Robert Schuller Crystal Cathedral in Anaheim.
Yeah,
and I didn't know what had happened. And my friend Mikey that is taking me to church, which was kind of funny in itself because, like I said, he hadn't seen a church since he got sprinkled. But anyway, but they were amazing. And I saw them at Milwaukee Metal Fest one year play before right near before Deicide, and boy, that was an exciting evening.
I also played this version of it, which is the Metal Mind version from Poland.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposedly it's remastered, but I don't know, and maybe it's just me. I didn't hear a huge difference between it and the original one.
Yeah, I have an original pressing, and I have that one too, and I didn't notice much of a difference either. I don't know. I don't know that you'd want to do too much with that because I think sonically the original sounds great.
Yeah, I think you can bring out some stuff in it and enhance it a little bit. But in any case, I'm sure Rob could do something amazing with it if he was given the opportunity.
I'm sure he could. He has the technology.
You have the technology. And then this one here is another one I was spinning recently.
Yeah.
Wouldn't turn
band.
down the chance.
Enforcer just, I mean, it's the same vocals as in Brainstorm. I think these guys are no longer around, I don't think, but this is just great progressive. I don't know. I guess you call it power metal. I just
Yeah,
call it
it's power
progressive
metal.
Hey, Scott, did you see Damien Hair Metal's comment?
Oh, right on. Which one do you have on vinyl, Damien? The Sound of the Obscure or Extraction from Mortality?
Weren't you needing to borrow one or maybe get a scan?
See, I have that one on vinyl. Actually, I have an old flyer in the back that has been in there for as long as I've had the records. So,
Man, I'd love to find Sanity Obscure on vinyl. That would be one of my vinyl keepers.
Anybody know where Waterloo Records is?
That would be in Austin, Texas, there, sir.
Yep. That's the little Waterloo Records thing on there.
Oh yeah, still there. Jason McMaster used to work there.
So in concert Thursday, February 21st, 1991 at Liberty Lunch, Austin, Texas. I don't know what Liberty Lunch is, but
Fraser Dawson says, John, you remember So Many Nuclear Assault album you sold me? Do you remember that? Nope. I don't remember. I'm surprised. Now, see, I've known Fraser for 30 years, and I'm surprised he can remember, but I digress.
Yeah. So Fraser asked a question earlier. Very nice.
Yeah, I just finally got this one. This one I've been trying to get it forever. The Pounder EP, which was the last thing they recorded, back in 2015.
Yeah.
I think there's a 7-inch version of this out there somewhere too, as well.
How does it sound?
I think it sounds good. It sounds like, Nuclear Assault. It's got a different. It's not all the original members. It's got a different lead player on there, so
it's not John Conley.
John Conley is on there, but he's the vocalist and the guitar player. But Eric Burke is the guy playing lead guitar on this particular EP.
Why does that name sound so familiar?
He was the former Texas governor.
Could be.
That's Rick Perry.
That's also John
Goofy suck.
I'm actually looking it up right now, but you can. I'm sorry I interrupted. I'm sorry I interrupted your story. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I didn't have a story. I was just going to tell Fraser the short answer for how long will it take to master an album is it depends on how much work I have to do on it. It really is an open-ended question. It really depends on how long the album is. It depends on what needs to be done to it. Am I transferring it from cassette or vinyl or DAT tape? Or, man, I could be done in an hour or two. Usually a couple hours if everything goes really, really well. It could take half a day if I've got a bunch of stuff to do. But
can you pull 3 tracks off of this cassette and 4 tracks off of this? Can you pull 3 tracks off this cassette and 4 tracks off of this DAT tape? And here's
an MP3, but we don't want it to sound like an MP3. And
yes, and this track is only available on this 7-inch vinyl from 1963. That's really
scratched. Is carved into a wooden block, and you drag a piece of wire across it, and you need to get that off of there. And
you mean it's not in a wax tube?
Yeah. Here's a YouTube video that I uploaded, but the video is from 1984 and audience recording. Yeah, it happens all the time.
We've seen all of them.
With Metal Wave, I don't remember how long it took, Fraser. We did that a long time ago.
But that should have been a pretty solid recording. That's the secret, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that changes everything. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Eric Burke was the guitar. Well, this makes sense. Eric Burke was the guitar player for Brutal Truth.
There you go. I knew I recognized the name from somewhere.
Yep. And that makes sense considering, what's the bass player's name? He was in there as well. So
Dan Lokler.
Dan Lokler, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyhow.
I hear that Ed Wynn is remastering all the Osric Tentacles records too. So those are all coming out. You're welcome, Tony Clem. Love you, buddy.
Did he just do that last year?
Yeah. They're not all out. I'm still waiting for Waterfall Cities. That's one of my favorite Osric Tentacles.
I
See, I
was
said it
sitting over
twice.
here just being quiet, thinking, nope, we're going to make it all the way through the show. And Tony comes
You
in.
know, when the fans want to hear it, the fans are always right, just like customers.
We're in a rubber raft and Tony's poking holes in it.
That's right. Any chance a remaster of Grin from Corner is in the works?
Ryan Roebuck. Oh, I want to tell you something funny, Ryan. So my Motivic shirt, the gray one with the white letters, got washed with red stuff. And so now Motivic is bright pink. And I swear I had it in my hand to wear on the show today in case you watched. So I'll try to remember that. But yeah, it's starting to fade back out now because I've washed it a couple times. But bright pink Motivic. So I think you should do a version of pink Motivic shirts. Logos.
The Rob edition. Yes.
Absolutely. My brand of metal. Oh man, Tony, dang it, dude. I love you, man.
Give the people what they want.
Well, they wanted to hear that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's funny, dude. What else, boys? We got a couple minutes left.
I don't know, man. You know what? Like I said, I've really enjoyed just delving back into the archives, and like I said, I'm on a slim budget these days, and that's self-imposed. I just needed to slow my financial roll just a bit because I've got future plans, and man, it's been kind of rewarding to just grind back into the old catalogs and listen to, like, I listened to Darkness Descends because everyone's going to see Dark Angel, and I thought, well, I won't get that opportunity, but I can still listen to the music. And see, that's the beauty of having a collection, is that you can just grab it off the shelf when you're doing something and check it out. And man, like I said, having a car with a CD player, I forgot how much I used mine.
Oh my gosh, there's one.
Yeah, and I wish I had my copy of Chris Manning, but
if you go check your damn P.O. box, Chief.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
I bet if you go by there tomorrow, you'll have a nice gift.
You're the man, Rob. I don't care what anybody says.
It only took me a month.
And how many trips? You drove all the way to Louisville, and you went,
yep.
Good news, bad news. I got your box, but your records.
And you came all the way here, and then I forgot to mail it. Mm-hmm. It was sitting right here, literally right here.
That's okay.
I still haven't played it. I haven't even played my copy.
Man, I can't wait to hear it. I watched the video the other day. That's pretty cool. And man, that dude's that's a solid dude right there. I'm glad I know him.
Oh, dude. He was on KNON. If you want to hear an interview with Chris Manning, you can go to knon.org. He was on Reckless Rock Radio on Sunday night, and you can listen to it for up to 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So go check it out and listen to Chris talk about, what he's been up to.
Yeah, he hooked me up with a guitar tech that helped me get a guitar together for Allie, and man, what a great resource. I mean, I didn't realize that Garland, Texas was like the home for everybody that's anybody that plays guitar. I mean, this guy does setups for Robin Ford and Billy Gibbons and all sorts. I mean, it was crazy. So if you ever get to Garland, Texas, there's a guitar store down there with about 10,000 guitars, and they'll all blow your socks off. And by the way, the sticker that's up in the corner up there, I have a few of those too, if you're interested. A few.
I threw a couple of the holographic ones in your package.
Cool.
With the record. So cool. Well, it's 6 o'clock. Do you want to get out of here on time for once?
For once.
Yes, sir.
And Vic Stone's nowhere to be seen, so we know we're not going to go way over time. I love that dude, man. He's awesome.
I love that dude. Yeah, he
I'm
needs to come back
I'm
on the
so
show.
tempted. I'm so tempted to drive up to that. I said, and here's my note from last week where he was talking about Vindicator, Assault, and Necroprophecy. I just thought, man, wouldn't that be fun to go up and hang out with that dude?
I know,
So,
and he's coming to Houston for that Hell's Heroes, I think.
yep. So if
I
for
might
nothing
need
else,
to- I
yeah.
might need to get down there, even if because I didn't buy tickets for it.
Well, and here's the thing. I didn't know that the Solitude Eternus thing was happening.
Well, and I didn't know it was going to be at the outside venue.
Oh,
I think they're at the outside the bigger part of the.
okay. Well, they
venue. I
needed to
think-
do something because it was
Yeah.
pretty salty in there with
Oh man, packed.
yeah.
And I just can't handle that for very long. And over 3 days is just I can't do it. I just want to have time to get down there.
Well, I offered to Rhodey for John if he'll just get me anywhere near the stage. I just want to see Solitude Eternus play one more time.
Yeah, and I need to roll down there and meet Vic. So anyway, well, let's talk about this. You can follow me on Instagram at Metal Rob's Records, where I will wear you down with everything I'm selling in my record store. If you're interested in audio mastering, you can just find me. I am metalrob at gmail.com. I'm easily Googled or Facebooked. You can find the Carcass on Instagram at CarcassJohnArt. And if you want a bad, I think you're working on something for me right now. Are you not?
I am.
And did you see my very professional mock-up? Did you like that?
It was outstanding. It gave me such clarity on what you want.
How drunk do my eyes look in that drawing? And check out Scott Waters. He's got 1 billion subscribers on YouTube. You can find him by just searching Scott Waters. You can also find him on Instagram at No Life Till Metal. And
Okay.
don't forget about MediaTek's open house on August 12th, mediatek.edu. Check out Carrie and all the fine folks there for all things audio and video engineering.
And that is a killer facility.
It is.
I would love to be a little younger and attend myself.
Fraser, this means that we would have some sort of plan. And if you're under the illusion that we have any kind of plan whatsoever, you are sadly mistaken, brother. But I have no idea.
Yeah, we're the unplanned.
Yeah.
Unplanned, unscripted, unrehearsed, and unedited.
Yeah. Completely unprofessional.
And unprofessional too.
We've talked about getting Carrie Crafton on. I've got a couple of feelers out there to get a couple people on. We'll see. Got offered someone today, actually, that we talked about on the show today by happen chance that y'all don't even know about. You two don't even know.
What?
But we'll discuss it. So anyway, all right, boys, y'all ready to punch out?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I got off I went on the wrong tab. Cool. Until next time for episode 188. Metal will
prevail. Rob,